Hello everyone, Dave here, bringing you the top 250 best 10 out of 10 games ever made. But before we begin, just what is a 10 out of 10 game? A game that is perfect for what it is, and one such that you will be hard pressed to find ways to improve it. Today I'm going to do my best to showcase such titles from across every genre. So buckle in as we count down our list. The first game on our list is Prey from 2017. It's from Arkane Studios and it's their spiritual successor to the System Shock franchise. This game has modernized the Prey franchise by completely overhauling it. It is a brilliant game where danger can come from any side, from any shape, size, or form, from any place while always remaining unexpected. Set about the haunting Talos 1 space station, it rewards players who think outside the box, turning every tangible object into a potential threat in a deeply atmospheric science fiction horror setting. Tomb Raider from 2013. This reboot has modernized the Tomb Raider franchise, transforming the series from a treasure hunting experience to more gritty adventure focused on survival. This game is set on a mysterious island filled with mercenaries, cultists, and other supernatural elements that I don't want to spoil. It shifted this series toward a more action packed, cinematic, set piece focused experience, revitalizing the franchise for a new generation of gamers. Of the remake trilogy, I believe this one to be the best game so far. The sequels have better graphics and fidelity, but this one still tops them all in terms of atmosphere, gameplay, and storyline. If you're new to this Tomb Raider franchise or want something that is similar to the Uncharted games, there is no better starting point than this one. Batman Arkham Knight. This is the culmination of the Arkham trilogy. This game is the ultimate Batman simulator. From the revolutionary combat to the soaring navigation of the Gotham City, it captures the power fantasy of being Batman perfectly. Topped off with the haunting psychological take on Joker's legacy, this is arguably the best Batman game along with Arkham City, which is also a fantasy game in its own way. I would recommend playing Arkham City before starting this one. And another piece of advice I can give is when you almost finish the game, you can swap your save file with one that has all the collectibles collected so you can enjoy the best ending without the tedium of finding each collectible in this game. Check it out. Titanfall 2, known for having one of the best single player campaigns in FPS history, Titanfall 2 is a masterclass in player movement and level design. It has everything from wall running to controlling giant mechs called Titans. The campaign is packed with action and inventive twists. You play as a militia rifleman stranded behind enemy lines who encounters a veteran Vanguard class Titan. The two of you must work together to uphold a mission that you were never meant to carry out. The bond between your player character and the Titan provides the emotional heart for this game that features one of the most fluid combat mechanics ever put to screen. In many ways, the vibe of this game is very similar to Half-Life 2. So if you like that one, check this one out as well. Or if you are just a fan of giant mechs. Rome Total War, the title that defined the grand strategy genre for a generation. Rome Total War successfully bridges the gap between empire management and massive cinematic real time battles. Seeing thousands of legionaries clash on a battlefield for the first time was a literal game changer for many strategy fans. To this day, the game hardly feels like it has aged, and with the remastered edition out, even less so. It not only allows you to play over a dozen factions without any frivolous DLC purchases stopping you from conquering the world, but also allows you to play historical battles of which you only have heard of in history books. Playing any faction in Rome Total War is amazing, whether you're playing one of the main Roman families itself and eventually having to overthrow the Senate, or playing as Carthage to overthrow the Roman Empire, or as the Seleucids trying to gain a footing in a war-torn land before the Mongol horde comes knocking. Rome Total War remains to be the best RTS games ever made in my opinion, and with the Barbarian Invasion expansion pack, it being as big as the base game, you cannot go wrong with this one. Fallout New Vegas. Frequently hailed as to be one of the best Fallout games, New Vegas was developed by Obsidian Entertainment and brings a Wild West sensibility to the post apocalyptic New Vegas. It shines in its multi faction system, where many of the choices you make for any one faction have ripple effects across the whole Mojave wasteland. With some of the best writing and role playing flexibility in the genre, it allows you to be anything from a charismatic diplomat to a cannibalistic psychopath while wandering the wasteland and the desert to the sound of the 1950 radio hits. There are many DLCs for this game that are equally excellent, if not all. And for many of the Fallout fans out there, assuming you have already played this one, I highly recommend you checking out Fallout 1 and 2 to see how your favorite factions, such as the NCR, Enclave, etc., actually came to be. XCOM 2, the ultimate game of high stakes and bad luck. XCOM 2 puts you in charge of a guerrilla resistance fighting against an alien occupation of Earth. Its brutal permanent death system creates a tension that is rarely found elsewhere, making the eventual liberation of Earth feel well earned in the blood of your favorite soldiers. Between missions, you manage your base, research alien tech, and try to stop an ongoing countdown, creating a constant, exhilarating sense of fighting a losing war, with your brilliance being the only way out. For similar games, I can recommend Wasteland 3, Shadowrun Returns Trilogy, and a lesser known game called Troubleshooter Abandoned Children. Fire Emblem Three Houses. This game blends tactical grid based warfare with a rich, branching university life drama. The series itself, being famous for killing off parent characters, does no better this time, at least in that regard. However, what it does make sure is that every unit feels like a person rather than an NPC or a pawn. The political intrigue and the what if scenarios of its multiple routes provide an incredible amount of strategic and narrative depth, taking the whole franchise to a new height that was not seen before. Character deaths actually matter too. They don't just come back to life through some coincidence or secret power as in most Japanese media. This game really breaks new ground for strategic RPGs with a highly replayable branching storyline and endings that make sure you find new perspectives to the world and storylines that you would not have seen otherwise. Persona 5 Royale, a stylish explosion of JRPG perfection, follows the Phantom Thieves, a group of high school outcasts who steal the hearts of corrupt adults to reform a distorted society. By day, you navigate the landscape of modern day Tokyo, attending classes, building deep bonds with your companions, and exploring the city, while by night, you infiltrate supernatural palaces to engage in fast paced turn based combat using your personas. This gigantic adventure, worth more than 100 hours, somehow still feels like it ends too soon. It's that good. What Remains of Edith Finch is a hauntingly beautiful story that unveils a collection of short, magical memories of Edith and her family. As the last surviving member, Edith explores her sprawling ancestral home, entering the preserved bedrooms of her relatives to experience the final moments of their lives through uniquely stylized gameplay set pieces. These sequences transform what would be a tragedy into a series of imaginative experiences that feel like a celebration of life instead, often overlooked as a game because of its cursed fate of falling into the genre of so called walking simulators. The reality of it being so much more than that. This game is a must play for every person who thinks you need combat or does dozen other bells and whistles to be a worthwhile game. Definitely check it out. Red Dead Redemption 2, Rockstar Studios' most ambitious game till date, is less of a game and more of a living, breathing life simulation. Set in the past, in the wild, wild west, the game is renowned for its unparalleled realism and immersive open world, where once you get into the motion of things, from riding horses, wagons, hunting wild game, to camping in the woods and even intense gunfights. Everything feels so real, reactive, and cinematic that it's easy to forget you're playing a game. The story follows our protagonist, Arthur Morgan, one of the most human characters you will ever come across, whose actions across the entire game will decide the sort of ending he will get. For the first time players, you will find the initial start of this game a bit of a slow burn, but if you stick with it, the game will pay you back in tenfold. Cyberpunk 2077. Despite a rocky launch, Cyberpunk 2077 has evolved into the definitive cyberpunk experience, offering a neon soaked dive into the hyper-capitalist, corporate run dystopia of Night City. Playing as a mercenary named V, you find yourself sharing your skull with another inhabitant, played by none other than Keanu Reeves, as you navigate a web of corporate intrigue and street level hazards. The game excels at immersion by providing a first person view of the world, featuring multiple origin choices that provide a background for your character. A wide array of cybernetic upgrades are available, reminiscent of the Deus Ex series, that radically change the combat and gameplay that you experience. Some of the most detailed cityscapes are rendered in this game, with a high degree of verticality to the entire map. It is a very high octane story about the struggle for legacy and identity in a world where everything has been gone for sale. For similar games, I can once again recommend the Shadowruns trilogy. Witcher 3: The Wild Hunt. Witcher 3 is widely considered to be the gold standard of third person adventure games. From fantastic storytelling, a beautifully rendered world, great characters, fluid combat, the game has everything you can ask for. It follows the monster slayer Geralt of Rivia, also known as the White Wolf, as he adventures across a war torn continent. What sets it apart from other games is its quality of writing. Even the smallest side quest often involves unforeseen complexities and is draped with rich folklore, ensuring that the world never feels like a checklist of tasks. There is an absolute abundance of quests sprinkled throughout its world, with its breathtaking vistas, haunting soundtrack, and two massive expansion packs. It creates a real sense of place and character that few other games have ever matched. Age of Mythology, a beloved spin off of the Age of Empire series that you might have heard of. Age of Mythology swaps the historical setting for a mythological one, showcasing epic legends from Greek, Egyptian, and even Norse mythology. Instead of just managing resources and soldiers, this time players can call upon the powers of the gods themselves, summoning lightning storms, meteor strikes, or creating entire forests. You can recruit mythic heroes like Minotaurs, Hydras, and Phoenixes. Its campaign, following the hero Arkantos, is a journey through ancient myths, and its unique god power system adds another layer of strategy to the whole thing. It keeps the campaign feeling fresh and unlike any other RTS game out there. This game has one of the best RTS campaigns ever made and a fantastic expansion pack as well. Divinity Original Sin 2. Before Larian Studios made Baldur's Gate 3, they perfected their craft with Divinity Original Sin 2, a game famous for its magical elemental system, where rain puts out fires, fires turn water to steam, and steam can be electrified to stun enemies. You play as a sorcerer in this game, in a world where magic is feared, embarking on a quest to become the next divine in a race against your own party members who can either end up as allies or enemies depending on their actions. It is a very dense, humorous, and even surprisingly tragic adventure at times that rewards outside the box thinking, whether you're asking animals for directions or teleporting enemies on top of each other's heads. Deep Rock Galactic is a masterclass in cooperative multiplayer gameplay, pitting four dwarves against an endless swarm of alien arachnids in a procedurally generated 100% destructible biome. Each class, driller, engineer, gunner, scout, has a vital role to play, making teamwork not only encouraged but very essential for survival and also efficient mining and extraction. The game has a very low poly aesthetic, but it's incredibly stylized and looks wonderful. It has a very wholesome online community and a very fair, not pay to win progression system where the developers have always proven to prioritize fun over monetization. It's a chaotic, hilarious, and deeply satisfying loop of mining, shooting, chugging beers while dancing, and shouting rock and stone. Do not give this game a miss. Half-Life 2, a landmark game in the first-person genre, it revolutionized the industry with its seamless integration of physics-based gameplay and a rich narrative. You play as Gordon Freeman, the iconic, famous mute protagonist, as you lead a resistance against the Combine, which is a new world order that has enslaved everyone. The game's introduction of the gravity guns allows for ingenious interaction with its environment, turning everyday objects into weapons and tools. From the dystopian streets of City 17 to the horror filled streets of Ravenholm, its pacing is immaculate, telling a story entirely through the player's perspective without ever breaking it with a cutscene or two. For those who want similar stuff, I would recommend checking out Black Mesa and another game called Singularity. Portal 2. Portal 2 is the rare sequel that manages to expand upon a perfect first game without losing its charm. Building on the portal mechanics of the original, it introduces new elements like tractor beams, light bridges, and propulsion gels to create increasingly complex and satisfying puzzles, all the while maintaining the difficulty just right that the game never gets too complex and spoils the fun. Beyond the gameplay, it features a world class script and voice acting delivered by a cast of malevolent AIs like GLaDOS and Wheatley. It remains the gold standard for puzzle games and comedy in gaming in general, delivering a rare experience where the writing is every bit as sharp as the gameplay. Elden Ring. Elden Ring took the Dark Souls formula to the massive open world. It provides a sense of discovery and scale that is virtually unmatched. The game world of Elden Ring was designed in collaboration with George R. R. Martin, the author of the Game of Thrones books. In this game, you play as a tarnished individual seeking to become the Elden Lord by collecting shards of the shattered Elden Ring. It offers players an incredible amount of freedom, allowing them to take on challenges in any order they prefer, using a vast array of magic, weapons, or spirit ash summons. Its art direction is legendary, featuring the golden tree in the middle of the game that pierces the clouds themselves. The Gothic castles, all of which feel very lived in, all while maintaining the tight, rewarding gameplay loop that FromSoft is known for. Dark Souls, the game that created the whole Souls like genre. It's a masterclass in environmental storytelling and level design. It's famous for its brutal difficulty, where every victory feels earned and every mistake is punished. It drops you into a decaying land to embark on a journey across majestic vistas and grand Gothic castles to a land that feels truly alien. Sprinkled throughout this land are some of the most memorable bosses you will ever encounter in gaming, from gigantic hydras to warriors made out of solid stone. The game doesn't hold your hand through any of it, instead forcing you to learn through trial and error while also piecing together its cryptic lore hidden in item descriptions and NPC dialogue. The game has this unique atmosphere of oppressive bleakness across it, where the world is filled with castles that are decaying, its people turning out hollow, rotten half dead dragons to poisonous swamps where you even regret setting a foot in. It truly feels like the world is holding on to the last vestiges of life. This game has a brutal start, so for first time players, I will encourage you to just stick with it. It will be all the worth it in the end. Claire Obscure Expedition 33, a striking newcomer to the scene of turn-based RPGs, inspired by JRPG classics and Sekiro. Claire Obscure Expedition 33 blends its artistic high-quality visuals with a unique combat system that requires precise, time-sensitive inputs for its parries and dodges. The game is infused with this surreal, dreamlike atmosphere right out of a painting. The story follows a desperate group of explorers on a mission to save their world. There is a lot more to the plot, but I don't want to spoil it. It's absolutely amazing. So I will just leave it at that. With its melancholic nature, inventive art design, and a combat flow that bridges the gap between JRPG classics and modern action games, it delivers this fresh, emotionally charged epic which is worthy of your time. For first time players, my advice would be to never dodge and always parry. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Picking up the mantle of its predecessor, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 continues the story of Henry of Skalitz in 15th century Bohemia. Unlike most games which offer medieval setting with a fantasy twist on it, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 shrugs off the high fantasy tropes for medieval realism, offering a complex first-person combat system similar to Mount and Blade Warband or Bannerlord that demands a timing and technique rather than button mashing. You navigate a world of shifting political loyalties, intrigue, and civil war, where your reputation is earned through your actions, your skill with a blade or quill, or even your personal hygiene. It is a very grounded game in a living, breathing world. Definitely play the first game before playing this one because the story is connected and it being an excellent game in its own right too. This game was overshadowed by Clair Obscure Expeditions 33 being released in the same year and is very highly underrated in my opinion. Baldur's Gate 3, the game that viewed the CRPG genre through a cinematic lens. Baldur's Gate 3 brought the complexity and chaos of a Dungeons and Dragons campaign to life. Set in the Forgotten Realms, it follows a group of unlikely adventurers infected with mind flare parasites, forcing them on a journey of survival that can either lead to godhood or absolute ruin. Taking a page right out of Larian Studios' prior work, Divinity Original Sin 2, this game too is a marvel of reactivity, where magic and environments interact in creative ways, like electrifying puddles of blood or shoving bosses off cliffs. And every choice you make has ripples throughout its massive narrative branching system. For similar games, I can recommend Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, ideally even before playing this one. That is Planescape Torment and the Pathfinder CRPGs. Disco Elysium. Disco Elysium is a CRPG that turned the whole role playing genre on its head. It replaces the traditional combat with a deep internal monologue system where you battle with words against your own thoughts and beliefs. You play as a washed up detective in the crumbling city of Revachol. It is a masterpiece of world building and prose, exploring heavy themes of politics, failure, and even existential dread. Every skill check and conversation in this game can lead to a tragic misstep or a bizarre triumph, or sometimes even an unexpected success due to failure, making it one of the most unique storytelling experiences in gaming history. For similar games, I can recommend Esoteric Ebb and once again Planescape Torment. Deus Ex, known to be one of the best immersive sims ever made and also one of the best games ever made. Deus Ex puts you in the shoes of JC Denton, a nano augmented agent navigating a world where just about every internet conspiracy theory you read might be true. The game is celebrated for its unparalleled player agency, allowing you to bypass obstacles through combat, stealth, hacking, or even diplomacy, all the while ensuring that the environment always reacts dynamically to your choices. Its legacy lies in its narrative depth, questioning the price of progress and the nature of global surveillance, all the while providing a wonderful sandbox for gameplay that truly feels timeless even to today. For similar recommendations, I can suggest Deus Ex Human Revolution, which is its sequel, and Vampire Bloodlines The Masquerade. Before you guys leave, like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more videos such as this. Share this video with your friends and family, it really helps out the channel a lot. Do let me know your thoughts on the video in the comments down below, as well as what would you like me to do a video on next. See you guys in the next video. Bye.